Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Juice Daddy channel. And today we're doing something just a little bit different, a little off the beaten path for what I normally do. And that is we are discussing the imminent closure of the Wii Shop Channel. But before we do so, let's open it up and get some of that sweet Wii Shop Channel music. Because one of the best parts of the Wii Shop on the Nintendo Wii was the Wii Shop Channel music. Now, the closure of the Wii Shop, there's two deadlines that you need to be aware of, which I'll go over here in just a second as we wait for that sweet tune to start as soon as the channel loads. Give it to me. Give me that sweet shopping music. A tune that should be played in every retail establishment as far as I'm concerned. Let's just turn it up for a second. Let's get that dumb beeping off that it's doing. My video better not get copyrighted by Nintendo for playing this. Because I'll say it's one of the best things Nintendo's produced. But if they try to make money, I'm not going to monetize it. But if they try to monetize it because I'm playing this damn music, I tell you what. Pushing my shopping cart down the aisle at Target or Walmart or Best Buy or somewhere, or the grocery store. It's just perfect. The Wii Shop Channel music. Focus. Alright, let's turn it down. Let's just mute it. The Wii Shop Channel. Two deadlines. First deadline is March 26th this year. Literally about a month from now. March 26th is your very last day to purchase Wii points. Either via a card you purchase at retail, if you can still find it, or through a credit card here online. You have to add the Wii points. You can't just go to the game and pick it, then put in your card and purchase the game. No, you have to add Wii points. When people are saying the Wii Shop Channel on the Wii was backwards even when the Wii came out in 2006, they weren't lying. Nintendo's online left a lot to be desired even back then. So the first deadline is just purchasing the currency to get any games. March 26, 2018. Deadline number 2 is January 30th, 2019. That is the date, the final date to purchase any games through Virtual Console or on WiiWare on the Nintendo Wii. 2019, January 30th, less than a year from now. Beyond that date, any games will be unpurchasable on the Wii Shop. You could still download them if you've purchased them, but you cannot buy them any longer. Now, they have mentioned a third deadline, but they did not give an exact date when the entire service is going to be shut down. That even purchases you've made will not be downloadable after that unknown as of right now date. Which is something that's going to be coming up and is probably going to get a lot more traction once Sony does it to the PS3 and Microsoft does it to the Xbox 360. The days are coming that those servers are gone. And any money you spent to buy games or DLC or whatever on these services, if you don't have it on your hard drive, gone. Gone. And what happens to hard drives? They fail. What's going to happen to this Nintendo Wii someday? It's going to fail. It has flash memory. That memory is going to go. The SD card that's inside the Wii, that will fail. So even beyond January 30th, if I put it on an SD card, and then I back up that SD card, and I back up the backup of the SD card, first of all, your purchases are tied to your system. So if your Wii fails, the purchases, gone. Gone. But that's one thing. I'm here to talk mostly about the fact that on WiiWare, which is, okay, if you don't know, there's three components to the Wii Shop Channel. The first one I'm not going to talk about at all. It's the Wii channels. That's like where the YouTube app is, the Netflix app is. Okay. WiiWare. WiiWare is where the original titles went. The indie developed or major publisher developed games that were downloadable only, but exclusive, new games. Then we had the Virtual Console. The Virtual Console, let me tell you about the Virtual Console. The Virtual Console not only sold me on picking up a Wii before it came out. When I heard about the Virtual Console, I'm like, I've got to get that system. But I'll go ahead and give some credit to the Virtual Console for getting me back into loving video games in the first place. Because the PS2 I had, but I was super broke. I had a GameCube, but I was super broke, so I could only get a few games. When the Virtual Console was announced, and here I could get all the, with the promise that all your favorite NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis games are going to be all available in one place, and you just make a $5 purchase, and you're playing Super Mario Bros. 3 again for the first time you have since you were, 10 years old. That was a promise, and I got it. And I bought Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World, and I bought N64 games, and I loved it. But the releases of these were so sporadic and took forever to get new and better and good titles. Some weeks they release it like, why is it nobody wants to play these games? Nobody. So that's what I would look for, the old NESs at garage sales or thrift stores. And that's what really got me into retro collecting, was discovering these games once again through the Virtual Console. And my love and my passion that I remember since I was a kid, and now that I was an adult and had a steady income and steady job, I could go out there and buy them and afford them. It was great. So the Virtual Console and the Wii, probably a reason I do anything in video games today. Because I really rediscovered my love through the Virtual Console right there. But I'm going to really focus on WiiWare, right? But I can't. There it is. Because WiiWare has, I'll say it, a ton of shit. The WiiWare is like a microcosm of the Wii itself. An absolute epic ton of crap with a whole lot of great diamonds somewhere inside there. WiiWare has some really good titles if you want to dig through the poop. Now the problem, or the reason that I even want to do this video in the first place, is a lot of the games on WiiWare right there, a lot of them, once WiiWare goes away, January 30th, 2019, those games vanish with it, become unpurchasable. And when the service is gone, lost, archived only on YouTube, and yes, I'm sure somebody has hacked them and dumped them, and if you want to get emulators and play it on your computer or whatever, you could probably do it. But as far as a legal, legit purchase of the game, less than a year, not going to be possible. So I want to use this video to focus on a few WiiWare titles and a couple Virtual Console titles too that I think should grab your attention before this service, the Nintendo eShop, the Nintendo Shop Channel on the Wii, goes away. So sit back, relax. I'm going to point out a few titles, and maybe when all is said and done, you'll do what I did. You'll dust off this old box right here. Mine had a nice little layer on it. Find out where all your sensor bars are at. Put some fresh batteries in your Wiimote. And maybe buy a few games. So let's take a look at the Wii Shop Channel, WiiWare, and the Wii Virtual Console. Alright, here we are at my home screen on the Wii. Let's go ahead and go into the Wii Shop Channel. And we get our start page for the Wii Shop Channel. Go and start it. And it will connect and load up. And I'll just kind of show you some of the hassle you're going to have to go with if you choose to get some of these WiiWare or Virtual Console games before the shutdown. If you choose to add some Wii points to purchase before March 26th, and if you choose to purchase before January 30th, 2019. So it's connecting online right now. Alright, so here you see the home page, and it's got the announcements on here. Here's the Wii Shop closure announcement. On January 30th, 2019, we plan to close the Wii Shop channel, which has been available on Wii systems since December 2006. You can still add Wii points until March 26, 2018, and purchase content until January 30th. Now here's the vague part. In the future, we will be closing all services related to the Wii Shop channel, including re-downloading purchased WiiWare Virtual Console titles and Wii Channel, as well as the Wii System Transfer Tool, which transfers data from Wii to Wii U. So we've got hard dates on the purchase of the points and on the purchase of games, but this vague, someday we are closing everything, and you won't even be able to re-download it if you purchase it. That's going to be... That's something that all of these services are going to have to deal with eventually. And there's Wii Points Edition to be disabled. I think it just pretty much says the same thing. Yes. So either credit card or Wii Points card, March 26, 2018, 1 p.m. Pacific. That is, what, 2, 3, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. March 26, 4 o'clock Eastern Time is the deadline to purchase points. As you can see, I've got 400 Wii points available to me. And let's get into the actual Wii Shop here. Here is the screen, if you haven't seen it in a while or never seen it. And I just want to show you why this 400 points is kind of a bitch. And if you are going to purchase some titles either through WiiWare or Virtual Console, you're going to want to plan ahead before you add any Wii points. Because let's go to add Wii points. So let's say a game is 500 Wii points, which is $5. Okay, so you're like, oh, I'll just, put my credit card in and get 500 Wii points to purchase the game. Well, you can't do that. So we're going to buy Wii points with a credit card. The minimum you can buy is 1,000 Wii points, which is $10, or 2,000, or 3,000, or 5,000 for $50. Now here's the problem. Games range in between 500 Wii points. Some are 600 Wii points. Some are 800, 900 Wii points. Some are 1,200 Wii points. So you see what happens. If there's just one game you have to have that is 800 Wii points, well, the minimum you can spend is $10 for 1,000 Wii points. And you're basically going to be spending $2 more. You're going to be spending $10 for an $8 game. So that's why you should definitely plan ahead and try to budget so that you are maximizing the Wii points you use so that you don't have any left over that are just going to sit there, unused funds that you can't transfer. You can't use them on your Wii U or your Switch or your DS or your 3DS. It's just unused money in the trash. So figure out which games you want to buy, how much in Wii points they cost, and then purchase the necessary amount of Wii points to maximize your money spent. So you're not sitting there with a wallet full of money that you're not going to use. I'm going to focus mostly on WiiWare titles because there's games in here that once this download service is gone and over, there's games in here that are not going to be available anywhere else, that are going to be lost. But I will point out some virtual console titles. Now, by the very nature of them being in the virtual console, means that they are available elsewhere to play. But some games here in the virtual console are not easily accessible. They're not readily available. You have to jump through some hoops to find another way to legally play them. So I'll point out some virtual console titles, but we're going to be focusing on WiiWare. So I'm going to go into WiiWare, and we are going to go over some games. Now, I want to point this out as well. When people complained that the Wii's online, especially the Wii Shop, was archaic and backwards, they weren't kidding. This may have been usable back in 2006, 2007, but today, it's not. Now, here's how you can search. Popular titles, newest editions, which I don't even know when the latest game came out, genre, publisher, or if you know the game title. Now let's just go to popular titles and take a look. Now as you see, popular titles, there's 2 pages, and here's what you get. You get, a page of what, about, I don't know how many that was, 15? And it's not in any particular order. Same thing, I believe the newest editions page. Let's go check it out. If it will go back to the screen before. Okay, this is going to take a while. Here we go. Newest editions. So you got 36 pages of the latest games. Like the newest is top all the way. The problem is you can only go 1 page at a time. So if the game you want on this list is on page 32, well, sucks to be you. Really, the best way to find games on here that you want is to research what's on WiiWare, the best titles, and search by the game. Because not everybody knows the publisher. The genre thing is, a little bit better. But look, if your title's in action, 172, how many pages is that? Another 30? Puzzle, 126 games. So that's the search function. Just finding a game, just browsing, and hey, that game looks interesting. From on the Wii is a lot less intuitive than it is on either an Xbox One or Xbox 360 or PS3 or PS4. So I'm going to find some games. I'm going to point them out here, and we'll go over some of the titles that could be lost in time once WiiWare gets shut down January 30th, 2019. Here is Gradius Rebirth. We're going to start with the Rebirth trilogy. Konami put out 3 great games on the WiiWare, rebooting old series, or doing new installments in old retro series. And the Rebirths are considered 3 of the best games on WiiWare. So we're going to kick it off with 3 of the big ones. And this is Gradius Rebirth. As you can see, it's 1,000 Wii points, $10. You can gift it if you know someone that would love this game and you want to give them a little present, you can do that. Now go into more details. Now this is another one of the drawbacks of WiiWare. You don't get a trailer, you get 2 screenshots. And as far as I know, I don't think you can click on, nope, you can't click on these and enlarge them and take a look. This is what you get. You get 2 screenshots and kind of a description of the game. So, I mean, if you were just looking like, oh, I like Gradius, I remember playing that back in the day, Is this enough to make you spend $10 right here? Now, all the Rebirth games tend to review well, so like I said, if you're going through WiiWare and you see a game that interests you, your best bet's to go online, read reviews, read reactions to people who have played it, and then purchase, because this isn't much to go on to make a purchasing decision on these pages. So we'll go over to the next Rebirth game, and here's Contra Rebirth, another $10 title. Once again, I mean, I'm not going to click more details on every game, but just to show, you get 2 screenshots and a description of the game. But it is a Contra game exclusive to WiiWare. One more Rebirth game. Last Rebirth game is Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth. Once again, $10. You can see here on the screen, you can view compatible controllers. So you got the Wiimote, the Nunchuck, the classic controller, and you can see this also supports GameCube controllers. If you've got a GameCube backwards compatible Wii with the ports, you can use that. You can check that on all these titles on WiiWare to see that. So if you want these Rebirth games from Konami, $10 each, so $30 for all. There's been rumors that Konami was going to do a re-release on the modern download services of all 3 games, like in a package, so you can buy all 3 and they wouldn't be lost forever. But they're just rumors, nothing's concrete at this point. And, well, if you know modern day Konami, I wouldn't trust them to do anything good for gaming in their current state here in 2018. So, as of right now, as of me putting together this video, the only way to get Gradius, Castlevania The Adventure, and Contra Rebirth are all through WiiWare, and your last chance to put the funding in to purchase these games is March 26th. Another kind of retro game, Blaster Master Overdrive. Story on this, Sunsoft developed, and on a shoestring budget. I don't even think they released it in Japan. They only released it on WiiWare. Once again, $10, 10 or 1,000 Wii points, $10. And yeah, the only place it's available is WiiWare. And besides the original Blaster Master, this was considered the best follow-up to Blaster Master until Blaster Master Zero hit on the modern day download services such as on the Switch. So if you're into Blaster Master, here's a Blaster Master game that's considered one of the best offshoots of the game here on WiiWare. Here's our next title, Excite Bike World Rally, another $10 title, 1,000 Wii points. Now this game has been gimped a little bit through the loss of the Nintendo Wi-Fi, so there's no online multiplayer or online component to the game. And the online component not only had leaderboards, but it also had, this game has a track editor and the ability to share those tracks online with other players. Well, not anymore. The track editor is still in there so you can make your own tracks, but you can no longer share them online or download other people's tracks to play. And I believe the only multiplayer was online multiplayer with no local couch co-op multiplayer at all. So reduce this Excite Bike to a single player game. But I've heard it's still pretty good and still playable if you're a fan of Excite Bike. It's kind of got a 2.5D isometric view. Let's see if I can do the more details and get a screenshot there. You kind of see the viewpoint of the game. Heard it's a lot of fun, but you're not going to get the full experience because of Nintendo's online being down. At least on the Wii, it's down. So, but if you're an Excite Bike fan, there you go. Here's another game that's kind of lost some of its playability due to the lack of online on Wii. It's Bomberman Blast. However, I do want to point this out because even though it's lost online, it still has 8-player multiplayer if you have a Wii with GameCube ports. You can connect 4 Wiimotes to the Wii and put in 4 GameCube controllers, and you can still play this game, Bomberman Blast, 8-player locally. So if you're a huge fan of Bomberman and got some friends coming over and they are into Bomberman, it's probably better than the one on the Switch. I've heard lots of good things about this, but once again, a lot of its playability has been lost due to the lack of online now. And I just wanted to point out Bomberman Blast and mention a couple other games I'm not going to show. There's like an Arachnoid Plus. There's a Mr. Driller game. There's a Bubble Bobble game. A Rainbow Islands games. All exclusive to WiiWare. So if those kind of old school titles are things you like, know that there are games in those lines on WiiWare and nowhere else. Here's Adventure Island: The Beginning, an exclusive Adventure Island title on WiiWare for 800 Wii points, $8. And if you've been following my channel, you've known that over the past year or so, kind of one of my side quests in collecting is getting all the Adventure Islands on NES and the 2 on Super Nintendo, and I did that. Well, I know there's some on TurboGrafx I gotta get, but here is one that's exclusive on WiiWare. Its graphics are kind of, let me see if I can get a good screenshot on the more details. Almost like Donkey Kong Country a bit. Oh, these aren't really going to show it. But in motion, it's kind of got that digitized look, and it did get mixed reviews. But if you're a fan of Adventure Island, and I like the series, here is an exclusive title on WiiWare. Here is another title right here. It is Star Soldier R from Hudson Soft. This is a shooter for $8. And I've heard this is a ton of fun. However, once again, a title that's a little bit gimped because of the lack of online play on the Wii. I believe they had online leaderboards, which were, I guess, kind of important for this title, because this is a game where you have 2 different time limits. You can either have a 2-minute time limit or a 5-minute time limit. And it's kind of a point attack shooter to see how many points you can get in your time limit, whether it's 2 or 5 minutes, and then post those online and compare your scores with the world. As you can see, locally, it's for 1 player only. So, I mean, fun, I guess, if you want a quick point attack shooter for $8, but you're not going to be able to compare the scores with anybody else but yourself. You're going to be competing against yourself and no one else. But it's here and exclusive to WiiWare. This is a title that may not be worth getting. It's Dr. Mario Online RX, and the online is a reason it may not be worth getting, especially for $10. I am not certain how much of this game relied on the Wii's online service, but clearly it was a big portion. I do believe there is single-player content that you can play if you're a big Dr. Mario fan, but I'm not 100% certain if the one for 1 to 4 players, if you can play multiplayer locally. So this may just be a game that lives on in YouTube videos or whatever, because without an online component, it's probably not worth picking up, especially for that steep price of $10. Hey, if you're looking for some pinball action, Alien Crush Returns is exclusive to WiiWare. If you're a fan of the games on TurboGrafx, Alien Crush and Devil's Crush. I've heard this is pretty good if you like video game pinball. I'm not the biggest fan, but I thought I'd point it out because it is an important series, especially for old TurboGrafx fans. And I don't think these screenshots they put on WiiWare do it justice. I've seen some like 3D renderings that make it look really, really cool. But I believe it's just one table with multi-levels. So, I mean, $8. It may be worth picking up if you're a fan of the series. Space Invaders Get Even is the next title I want to point out. And this just seemed like a whole lot of fun just reading some of the descriptions of the game online. But as you can see, there's a logo, Nintendo Wi-Fi Pay and Play. So there is an online component to this that, of course, is no longer working. And this has extra levels as DLC. So the game is $5, but additional levels to get the complete experience is going to cost you more money. So just something to keep in mind if Space Invaders Get Even is a game you're interested in. In this, you play as the Space Invaders, kind of invading Earth. I think it's kind of tactical. You choose when to kind of launch the UFOs and whatnot. Seems like a really good premise and a kind of a nice little fresh reboot of the Space Invaders game. So, and it's only on WiiWare. Okay, I wanted to point out this title not because I think you should, rush out and rehook up your Wii and spend $10 to get it, because it didn't review very well, but I think it's kind of one of the oddities on WiiWare, and I'll tell you why. Because I know that there are some people out there who are Nintendo completionists. And this game was published by Nintendo, as you can see, and it was developed by Intelligent Systems, the makers of the Fire Emblem series. This is Echo Shooter Planet 530, and it is an on-rail shooter about recycling. This is one of the many oddities on WiiWare. Now, there's a lot of junk on WiiWare, and some would probably consider this game junk. But there are people who are just fans of Nintendo, want to experience everything Nintendo puts out. Well, here's a little-known Nintendo-published and internally developed title sitting on WiiWare that I can almost guarantee they're never going to bring back in any form whatsoever. It is stuck here on WiiWare, and when the service goes down, it is gone forever. Another one of the Nintendo oddities on here is Bonsai Barber. How do you like that? Barber simulation. In this, you're basically giving haircuts to plants and vegetables. You are the Bonsai Barber. $10 to play, and I've heard it's kind of, fun and quirky in a Nintendo Wii era way, and there's plenty of, look, you're sitting there chopping the hair of a carrot. You're sitting there, oh look, there's some turnips that need a haircut from you. First of its kind, first-person groomer game. Once again, a Nintendo oddity that is going to be lost forever, more than likely. I don't see them bringing this back on Switch or anything. Bonsai Barber. Now, maybe for a Nintendo game that may be worth your time, it's Fluidity. Now, this is exclusive to WiiWare, although there is a version on the 3DS eShop, but that is a different game. This is water. You play as water, and you use water to solve puzzles. And it's open world, as far as I can tell, and I even read descriptions comparing it to like an open world puzzler, like the puzzles comparable to Super Mario 64. Now, I don't know about that. And for $12, there is some risk, although this is one of the few titles on WiiWare that does have a demo available. So you can download the Fluidity demo, and if it's something you think you'd play and enjoy, then pick it up. But gosh, $12 and to play as water. It looks kind of fun, but and none of these games ever go on sale. That's something I don't know that I need to point out. Like, WiiWare never had sales on this. This is the price. It's never gone down $10 or to $6. It's always $12. For you Pokemon fans out there, WiiWare is home to 2 exclusive Pokemon games. Here for $10, we have My Pokemon Ranch. which may be kind of gimped because of the online missing. This is you put in your Wii or your Me and your Pokemon, and then they're all on this ranch together, and you take pictures, and you can send the pictures to your friends via the Wii message board, which doesn't work anymore because it's down. Now you can import Pokemon from Diamond and Pearl. The Pokemon you caught, you can put into your ranch to kind of increase the amount of Pokemon in your ranch, up to 1,000 of them. But unless you're just like an absolute Pokemon completionist, this doesn't seem like something that would be completely necessary because you're just on a ranch with your me taking pictures of your Pokemon, and it's $10. Now this one, Pokemon Rumble for $15, may be something worth playing. This seems like an arena type shooter, and it's exclusive to WiiWare as it says. You control Pokemon and take on wave after wave of other Pokemon in various stages, and then the ones you defeat, you can befriend and then use their powers in battle, and you can team up to take on bosses. And it's cell shaded, probably a lot of fun if you're a big Pokemon fan, and it's $15. Now, there are 3 other exclusive Pokemon games, but they're on the Japan Wii Shop. So if you have a Japanese Wii or you know how to work around to get the Japanese eShop available on your Wii, there are 3 exclusive Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games exclusive to the Japanese Wii Shop. That makes a total of 5 exclusive Pokemon games on WiiWare. Here's a series that many people know for being exclusive on WiiWare. I know there are like other games on the 3DS eShop as well. But these 5 are exclusive to WiiWare, and they are the art style games. We have art style Cubello, op style Orient, art style Rothahex, art style Rhodozi. Oh god. Hey, I can pronounce this one. Art style Light Tracks. They're all kind of different. The genre on these is kind of minimalist relaxation, I want to say. $6 each, 600 points. They're all a little bit different in their play styles, but the similarity in them is that they are minimalist and kind of not a really like thrilling, heart-pounding experience. Supposed to relax and play them, but they're all kind of different experiences in their own way. And if you read reviews online on art style, it seems like everybody has like their favorite. Some people go for this one, I've heard. There are some people who really dig Light Tracks. As you can see, I don't have any of them. If you want to buy all 5, it's going to be $30. But unlike other games that started on the WiiWare but then got ported or put on other services like the Bit Trip series, these 5 art style games are not available anywhere else as of right now but WiiWare. Here's a game you may have heard of because it kind of got memed there back in 2010. It is Muscle March, Macho Posing Action, for $5. Now, I amazingly did not play this game when it came out, but I've always been curious about it. You basically play these bodybuilders and a bear who are marching through buildings, and you kind of play as the last one, and you have to match the pose in order to get through the hole in the wall. So you use your Wiimote and nunchuck to match the pose so that you can continue marching with your muscle-bound crew. So it is Muscle March, one of the oddities and one of the interesting, possibly worth purchasing for $5 oddities on WiiWare. Here's a game that I think got ported to Steam or somewhere else, but it's obviously a different version because the Wii version uses the motion controller as a flashlight. It's lit, it's a puzzle game, it's a horror game, it's $8, and it looks pretty interesting. Like I said, it is available elsewhere for probably cheaper. This is not a gameplay screen up top. You're not going to be able to see. God, these are so hard to see. But you do use the motion controllers as your flashlight to look around. So if you're a fan of like puzzlers and horror games, maybe worth picking up. Although it's probably, if it is on Steam, it probably has been and will continue to be cheaper on there. It's just an interesting thing to point out because, of course, the game's going to have mechanics that are only available on the Wii. Now, there are a few games I want to point out that have versions elsewhere, so they're not exclusive per se to WiiWare. However, they either got their start on WiiWare or slightly different on WiiWare. And this is one of those slightly different titles. It's Final Fantasy IV, The After Years, and you get to start for 800 Wii points. But as you can see, there is a pay-for-play element. To get the complete version of Final Fantasy IV The After Years on WiiWare, you're going to wind up spending $3,700 because you have to buy each additional level beyond what you get on the initial purchase. Final Fantasy IV The After Years, I believe, is available on PSP. However, the graphics style is different. The PSP has a more HD modern look, and the graphics on the one on WiiWare are more reminiscent of like the retro style graphics that when Final Fantasy IV was originally released. So I guess it's just personal preference. I'm going to guess it's probably cheaper to get it on PSP. I'm not 100% certain on that. It's probably cheaper than the $37 you're going to wind up spending to get the complete version of it here on WiiWare. Other titles that got their start on WiiWare before moving on to other services, Lost Winds 1 and 2. They just got released to Steam, I want to say late last fall. So pretty recent. Otherwise, they were going to be lost to WiiWare forever. Next Quest is another one. NYX Quest. Next Quest. Mega Man 9 and 10. Mega Man 9 was a WiiWare exclusive for a time. And, of course, the Bit Trip series, which we kind of already talked about. Now, I do want to end the WiiWare portion of this video with Final Fantasy games, and that's these two. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a King, and Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a Dark Lord. So we'll start with My Life as a King for 1,500 points. That is kind of almost a god simulator. It's city building and things as that. You go to defeat the evil, then you get more land and more stuff. However, you see that pay and play logo. Let's go over here to the Final Fantasy Wiki. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a King add-on content. And I'll say it right there. The cost of all DLC is 2,500 Wii points. If the races are bought separately, if the triple race pack is bought, the total cost is 2,400. So to get the complete experience of My Life as a King, 1,500 plus 2,400 is almost $40. 3,900 Wii points. Now, I went through this. Maybe some of these download DLC packs are things you're not necessarily going to need. So maybe you can shave some money off. Okay, do I need an additional costume for the king or for Chime, whoever Chime is? Okay, so you can save 200 points there. But still, there is 2,400 Wii points plus the 1,500 initial purchase if you want to get My Life as a King. Now let's go back to My Life as a Dark Lord. Just reading about and researching the DLC that is, that they have for this game, and also how mobile happy Square Enix is these days. I'm kind of surprised these aren't on mobile services yet to get some whale money. So 1,000 points to purchase My Life as a Dark Lord. My Life as a Dark Lord takes out the city building portion of the game and is more of a tower defense, and you do play as a Dark Lord, and she's trying to defend her castle from all those do-gooders. However, here's the add-on content for My Life as a Dark Lord, and we'll go down here to the bottom. The total cost of all the content is 5,700 points. All of the add-on content, all of this, 5,700 points, plus 1,000, $67 if you want the complete My Life as a Dark Lord experience on WiiWare. Now, some of these are not optional. There are, which one is it? One of these is the end game level. There it is. Wanted on Vacation, 500 points, adds a new world and chapter 6 after completing the game. So the end game content is locked behind DLC here on Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a Dark Lord. There are a couple other exclusive Final Fantasy games on WiiWare, but they're kind of tower defense. And I've heard they are not worth at all, like even considering. But these games, despite the cost of that DLC, have reviewed very well and are considered really good games. So if you're a huge Final Fantasy game fan, you're probably going to want to jump in and at least check them out. I've heard people say they're playable just fine with, not purchasing anything or only purchasing a few things and not having to spend like the entire $57 extra to get all this stuff. But look, this adds monsters. This adds monsters from Final Fantasy IV, the After Years, which we just pointed out. Pack of 3 artifacts to give advantage in battle. Maybe you don't need those. I don't know. Here's an item that raises your probably hit points by 50 at the start of the battle. Do you need all 5 of them? Probably not. But look, it includes 2 stage collections of varied difficulty. So here's a couple extra stages for 500. So some of these I would deem necessary if you're going to play Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a Dark Lord. But it's just a shame. Here's 2 considered pretty good Final Fantasy games that are going to be, unless Square does something with them, lost to WiiWare. Now, I do want to point out before we exit the WiiWare portion of the video that there are 2 games in WiiWare that I can't pull up because I guess I didn't select them when I became a Club Nintendo Platinum member. That's Doc Lewis Punch-Out and Grill Off with Ultra Hand. These were 2 games that Nintendo made exclusively available to Club Nintendo members who achieved Platinum status, and they were download games on WiiWare. Doc Lewis Punch-Out is, as you can imagine, Wii Punch-Out, but you're doing a sparring session with your trainer, Doc, who reduces energy by eating a chocolate bar. And then Grill Off with Ultra Hand is kind of a grilling game using a toy that Nintendo manufactured in the 60s called the Ultra Hand. So I apparently didn't choose downloadable games when I chose my reward those 2 years, so I don't have any access to them on WiiWare. If you did choose those and you don't have them downloaded, I suggest doing it before they decide just to shut the services off completely.